Don't forget to stick around through the end of the video for information on our Arrive Serpentor Arrive giveaway. Cobra's Elite Python Patrol strikes again. We've seen the Python Patrol Bat. We've seen the Cobra Vipers in 3-pack form. It only seems fitting that we now get to see this advanced Cobra Trooper return in that color combination that can only say snake. And what could be a worse snake than a Cobra Python? Imagine if that was a thing. The Cobra Viper still sports the same style of armor that a regular Viper would wear, the full head helmet with visor, the additional goggles to help protect the visor that protects the eyes, the torso covering body armor, that unmistakable backpack. Only now we get to see the yellows, red in different places and more grays in more places. Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan, aka JK of JK Collects, and remember, I'll be posting new videos at least twice a week, if not more. If that sounds of interest to you, please click that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of these episodes. In this episode, we are taking a closer look at the Hasbro 6-inch scale G.I. Joe Classified Series Python Patrol Cobra Viper. Hey everyone, welcome back, and here it is. And I know what you might be thinking, wait a minute, we were just talking about the Python Patrol Viper. Why is the Cobra Island one here too? I put it here because it is one that I have that we can quickly compare side by side and see how similar and how different they are. So here we have the same weapon, right? They did remove the magazine and put it over here to give the impression of an additional accessory, but really, these two equal to one. We have this, a copy, it's just been flipped over. Backpacks are the same. Of course, the build is exactly the same. The paint layout almost makes it look different, but here where it's red, it is separated. That gray is part of that red. One thing that stands out that is missing, we do not have the little neckerchief, whatever it's called, but hey, maybe it's tucked in there because it is part of the drawing, so we will see. But in presentation, it looks like that's missing, but let's find out. Let's get this guy out of the way. And I bring that up because somebody pointed out with the Python Patrol Bat, we were missing some things, right? We missed an entire separate head sculpt that had damage. Why did we lose that? But okay, let's take a look at this packaging, right? So our typical Target exclusive, that backing, right? The kind of the Cobra Island thing that we were used to, but the little views, right? That we can say, hey, maybe that's what a bat sees, or that's what the Viper sees through his visor, or his goggles over his visor, or both. Visor view, goggle view. Okay, I digress. And then here are the capabilities and the skill levels. This is number 42. Like I said, we do bounce around with the numbers. Some of that artwork with the good old Python Patrol Vipers on the side and coming around to a closer view of one of them. I do love that red visor look. I am a fan of Python Patrol. It is an absolute cash grab, but I'm here for it. I have always been a sucker for G.I. Joe cash grabs, and I will probably always continue to be. But let's get this open. But first and foremost, before we do that, I just want to thank Target for this. I don't know how many people have pre-ordered or ordered something from Target, but they do like to slap this little sticker on there, and yeah, it will come off. But it's always a little bit nerve-wracking when you find that on something that you would like to keep in the best condition. So, it'd be a fantastic thing if somebody from Target ever did see that could make the decision. But the decision would be, hey, please stop. Okay, just in the name of all collectors who have to deal with that stress of trying to pull that off and hoping that it doesn't catch some of the paper and take it with it. Target, just stop. Okay, so there we go, Python Patrol, that same background that we saw with the bat, the nice red. Hey, looking through a red visor, maybe that's what we're dealing with there. Okay, so, drum roll, not necessary. We do not have the neckerchief, the little sash thing. It is not there, so that is disappointing, especially since it is in the drawing on the cover. So there is another ding for the... I'm going to say the classified group and for Target because it is their exclusive. So I'm to believe that there was a little bit of a collaboration work there. But let's get these accessories out as I prattle on about my disappointment over a piece of plastic not included with a toy. It's the important things in life, But even with a clear tray, we now know for sure that there is no gray sash included. With that figure, and just to it is in the drawing. So just to be very clear, it was included in the drawing. I mean, granted, there's no render or anything like that on the package, but if it is in the drawing, one would hope that it would be included with the figure. It's just one of those things, right? Hopefully everybody can agree with that. Okay, so the weapon, we are used to this one, right? We've seen this one multiple times. It comes with basically every classified series Viper. We saw 2 of them come in the 3-pack. It is the, it's almost like a tactical shotgun rifle type thing, right? It does have the opening for the blast effect. Same sculpted details, same lack of a dry brush or some sort of a wash to help bring out some of those details, but that is not to say that this is not a magnificently sculpted and detailed weapon. They do a great job. And then, of course, we have the inconsistency of the finish on the plastic, probably from, like I said, before a release agent or something like that. So anyway, we'll plug this in however it will receive it, hopefully. Yeah, it goes one of these ways. They look very similar, but let's pop it in. Yep. Normally, it's easier to be able to tell what direction a magazine goes in. I'll figure that out later. So let's take a look at this handgun. Same thing, right? That's your general run of the general mills handgun. Let's see. My focus does not want to work with me. Okay, let's switch to manual. There we go. All right, so there it is. That typical standard issue Viper handgun, right? So we can all kind of tell what model or make that is modeled after. It does not have an opening for the blast effect, but that's okay. I mean, it's still cool to have it. It still has the holster on the side. And here are our goggles to help protect the visor that protects the eyes, but they are also in red. So you keep that same red theme going on there. The red, a little bit of overlap there on the side. You can see it kind of bleed onto the black just a little bit. Let me see if I can get this a little closer. There we go. So you can kind of see it bleed over onto the black a little bit. So a little inconsistency on that. And this is where I say I start, because I've already seen with my eyes some issues with the paint. And I cannot stress enough, if you're just doing a repaint, get it right. And I say that because hopefully this will come through. You can see the yellow. It looks like maybe 1 or 2 coats were applied, and inconsistently. So on the side, a lot more black is showing through than here on the front, but even the front black still shows through. This is it seems like maybe there's a trend of the Python Patrol and the yellow paint application being very poorly done. We saw on the bat on the shoulders, a very poor application. It almost seemed like it was a rushed hand application with a cheap brush and just some paint. So that's disappointing to see that on these little grenades that come on the back. The red, fairly clean. It gets a little bit, almost not quite reaching the edge over there, but still it's well done, right? It doesn't cover up the detail of the Cobra symbol, and it does work really well. And then this, of course, the gray always works, because that's kind of using something that's tried and true. The rest of it is in that cast black, so no real paint apps to be done or to be judging here. So there we go. That same old pack that we're used to. Now let's take a closer look at the man himself. So let's shift back to auto. And gosh, he just doesn't look right without his little sash, does he? But let's take a look at this helmet. Okay. Yeah. That's okay, let me just say, it is cool, right? Python Patrol is cool. I am a fan of it. This one does not have Python Patrol emblazoned across its chest, so he doesn't feel like he has to advertise that he's part of the group. I did see that in one of the comments for the bat, but the yellow bleeds far into what the red visor would be. The red is fairly well applied, I will say. But it looks like the yellow, I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, you kind of can. You see that line up there in the red? Where it seems like yellow was applied to a certain thickness or width to make sure that it did what it was supposed to do on the edge of this. And then the red was applied over it, but not thick enough to completely mask the fact that there is a line of yellow underneath. Yeah, it is, because it's inconsistent and it runs along the yellow and along the edge of the helmet. Why do I highlight all this stuff? Why do I highlight that the red does not fully cover the black down here? Why do I highlight that the yellow is bleeding up onto the red, or that the red doesn't cover the yellow there, it thins out the spray. I cover this because this is a repaint, right? This is a repaint. This is an investment that somebody would be doing, a pre-order, putting faith in the quality of this line, which is a fantastic line, right? And it's hard to have something like this in my hands and see all these flaws, because Classified, they've been nailing it, right? But here, I don't know what happened. I don't know why quality control has been so lax with these Python patrols, because this is almost like one of the last ditch efforts and maybe the last chance that fans are giving Target to have these exclusives, right? And there's already a bad taste in people's mouth, and then we don't execute properly on these paint jobs. It's, people can only take so much, I guess. And this is just to give people a chance to see what this looks like and then decide for yourself. Are you comfortable with these quality control issues to have this, right? Do you want to invest in a company that doesn't seem like they invested enough in something that is just a repaint that is to bring in more revenue, which hopefully brings more stuff out in the future because of the revenue increase, but you still got, if you're going to repaint, just nail it. That's the short of that is that. Okay, you know what? Back to the review. Enough of my little prattling on and just personal gripes. The neck is separate from the torso, so it does travel with the head. The helmet does interfere with a lot of the side to side. Doesn't really want to do a whole lot. Same thing with the up and down. The back of it immediately hits this collar. And then the forward, it does come down forward very well, because this is a rubberized plastic overlay over the plastic body, and it can flex that. But the head will also move down very well on its own without having to flex that, and it will tuck behind a little bit. Rotation, boom, we got full exorcist, so, you know, I'm happy to see that. There are some things that I'm happy about. The gray on the back here was, no, okay, so there, it's kind of missed in that corner, but, I mean, it's thick enough, right? So there's no black showing through, and the sculpting on this helmet is the same sculpting we're used to. The yellow was kind of missed there, but anyway, I move on. So shoulder, same mobility, right, that we're used to. With a Viper, we do still have the bicep-tricep rotation, which is not impeded by the shoulder. Still have the same double-pinned elbows with decent flexibility, right? So he can show off the Viper guns. No forearm rotation, which is common. And then we have the wrist rotation, and it will get impeded by this piece here. And this one would be an up and down, right? So the wrist mobility here, but the up is impeded by this here, which, I mean, is that a watch? It looks like he's wearing a watch. But that right there is impeding the ability for the wrist to go up and down. So it will go down, no problem, but the up is kind of missing because of that. And then same mobility over here, and then this wrist is a forward-backward. So it's kind of the opposite of what I normally see with these figures. Normally this side, the left side, is the forward-backward, and then the right side is the up-down, because it's usually the weapon-holding hand, right? Because usually it's a right-handed thing. And underneath here, it is this flesh tone, right? So in the Viper 3-pack, we saw that we got two different flesh tones with the two Vipers. The officer stood alone. I didn't look at his, actually. I need to. But this one does come in the lighter flesh tone. So there we go. And that's a quick thing that you can pull off if you want to keep that older Viper look and not have those pieces on the forearm. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave that off just because it's kind of cool to see. And then we can also see the consistency of how this was painted onto the cast gray plastic right there. So it kind of bleeds up onto the glove band. This same overlay is one solid piece of rubbery, softer plastic. So the thing that gets in the way there is it does not allow a lot of crunch, which there is, from what I can tell, flexibility in there, but with that thing, it just prevents it. We do have waist rotation, which is good. It does move these pouches forward, which are, as you can see, painted yellow, very heavily painted yellow. So it's, again, the thickness and the consistency is just not the same. So they do flex, so there's a little bit of paint rub potential right here and along this, even though this is all cast gray, rubbery plastic, but still is a possibility. Let's check out, there we go, that Viper split. They're the elite Python Patrol, of course. They've got to be flexible. And then this holster moves out of the way because it is that rubbery plastic. But it's got the pull down, which helps it clear out of the way. Now, interesting, this thigh holster, actually, because if it goes up here, it's too loose. If I move it down here, it is tight, and that is the that is where it does its pressure hold like it's supposed to, which means if it goes down, this tapers in, so it would be loose again. But it's covering these pouches here, right? So we've got pouches on this leg, but then we have this side holster. And you know what? It's probably been that way in every Viper, and this is just the first time I've noticed it because this was riding around so much. I mean, I guess if you've got it all the way back here, it's not going to impede the ability for him to open this pretend pouch on his leg. But anyway, I digress. And let's look at this upper thigh. We do have rotation there once it busts loose, and there we go. Double knee for that good old Viper flexibility. Comes down. The kneecap is black. And then we have boot rotation with the forward, backward, and ankle breaker. So same flexibility, same thing that we've seen with every single Viper, just painted differently. And speaking of paint, I do love this, what is it, reticular? Or I think I've tried to figure that out before, and I need to just look it up. That snake-like pattern on the sleeves, that is something that is very cool, that stands out to me, that I appreciate with Python Patrol when they do that texture. It's just neat. My biggest gripe, and I'm going to go back to it, is the yellow, because very thickly applied and sloppily applied. You can see it just kind of seems like it leaked over. Does not fully cover the gray. Very inconsistent on both sides, just like we saw with the bat. If you've seen that video. If not, check it out and you'll see yellow definitely seems to be an opportunity with these, which is unfortunate because that's one of the fun pop colors of this line. We would hope that it would be done properly, but it's just not. And you can even see along this, it's very poorly applied. And I get it. Yellow's a difficult thing, especially over a dark color, because you have to apply a lot of coats. But if you're going to do that, and you're going to make that decision, figure out a primer or something that can help do that transition. Like even here, it's very unclean, very sloppy lines, and you can see the gray shining through. The rest, this light gray, very well done. The Cobra stamp, very well done. These grenades on here, they look good. I think they are cast in that black, but then you can see just like these random pieces, everything else is very clean. It's just the yellow is the big opportunity here. And unfortunately, the yellow caused an issue with the red. But there we go. That's our guy. That is our Python Patrol Viper. Do I regret getting it? Absolutely not. But that could just be because I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan. But there he is. He stands very easily on his own, as we've seen with Vipers before. But that's our guy, and we're going to come back with 360 of him. And there is our nice 360 view of our Python Patrol Viper, who is out of time. Good figure. I'm a sucker for Vipers. I'm a sucker for G.I. Joe, as always. A very clear and obvious repaint. Remember, it is missing the sash that we've seen with every other Viper that we've been able to get, unless I'm mistaken. But the biggest thing that stood out with this, which I've seen with Python Patrol so far, this and the bat, is the yellow paint. The yellow paint is very sloppy, so be prepared for that. If that doesn't matter to you, totally fine. It doesn't matter enough to me to be disappointed to own this figure. I am happy to have it. I hold no regrets, but keep that in mind when you're considering adding this to your collection. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hey everyone, we are currently running our Arrive Serpentor Arrive giveaway, where we are giving away one Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Serpentor with Air Chariot. All you have to do is comment on this video to be entered to win. Each video during the giveaway period will have a secret keyword shared within the video, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Because the first person to comment that keyword gets pinned to the top of the comments and gets 2 entries for that video. A special thank you goes out to all of you for making it possible for us to be able to already start giving back. Well, that about does it. Thank you for checking us out and for joining us on this collecting journey, as always. And look for at least 2 new videos each week, if not more. If you got something from today's episode and you haven't already done so, please subscribe and click that like button. It would really help out the channel, and it truly does mean a lot to me. If you'd like to see some more videos, there are a couple of quick links on your screen right now for you to check out. But no matter what, as always, thank you for taking the time, and remember, we are all in this world of collecting together. Let's look out for each other. Thanks.